Optiva Resources has polymetallic projects based in Guinea, and along with a number of metals that it has, it contributes to the energy transition which we're now all undergoing. And Charles Douglas Hamilton is with us, Technical Director at Optiva Resources. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Let's start off first of all by asking the big broad question, what base metals are we talking about here? Because there are a number that you're looking at I guess at very different stages of development.
This project is quite unique in one respect. It's got two separate mineralized zones that have a blend of different metals, and these are largely used in energy storage or for the energy transition. So we've got a nickel cobalt scandium body, and we've also got a titanium vanadium scandium mineralized body as well. And having essentially two different deposits on one project is quite unique.
So whereabouts are you with the development or the exploration through this process?
Well, this project was held originally by Mitsubishi Corporation, and they used the BRGM, the French Geological Survey, to do a lot of work. They put in extensive roads across the actual intrusion, this ultramafic intrusion, and they drilled a huge number of holes, more than 10,000 meters of diamond drilling. We've got all that core. In addition to them, Amer, another company from the Middle East, came in. They spent a few more $1 million drilling very, very deep diamond drill holes down to about 640 meters. So we've got a lot of drill core, we've got a lot of geophysical data, we've got a lot of assay data. And so when we went back to look at all this core, we pieced together a very clear view of what we were looking at. And it's been fantastic to draw upon that core. So right now we're progressing things to a point where we've done 2 drilling programs, we've done a lot of mineral processing test work, we've done metallurgical test work, automated mineralogy. What we're trying to do is understand how best to extract the metals out of the minerals in this project. And in addition to that, we're going to be doing resource estimations using Wardell Armstrong, and we're looking forward to doing a scoping study shortly as well.
One of the interesting things about this, talking about this project, is that you're pre-IPO, so you're working up to a point, presumably next year when you're going to come to the market to present the business?
I think we're looking at about a Q4 IPO,
right,
and a number of targets, a number of deliverables that have to be met, and milestones prior to that.
Yes. So we don't presumably know too much about the profit and loss and balance sheet yet. But what are you doing about funding, and where's the money coming from? Are you taking on shareholders along the way? What's your plan?
Traditionally, we've raised money through high net worth investors. To date, we've raised about £1.3 million. We're currently doing a capital raise for £550,000. We've got about 300,000 committed. And we expect to close that by the end of October. That money will be used to get us to the end of the year to complete an initial
end of 2022.
Yeah. Get us to complete the mineral resource estimations with Wardell Armstrong, to pay for ongoing mineral processing test work using Tirupati Specialist Graphite's Mintech Research Center and the expertise from them, and also to compile and complete the initial scoping study for the 2 laterite boosted near-surface bodies. In addition to that, early next year we're going to be doing another raise, a new capital raise, to upgrade the mineral resource estimate to incorporate scandium assays and also the hard rock pyroxenite data, because that's going to open up the potential for a huge tonnage. And that's going to be quite exciting. We expect that to be completed by the end of the first quarter next year.
What do you see as the trigger to start the IPO process? Where would you like to be along this path?
I would like us to be able to, in addition to the scoping study and fast-tracking the completion of the scoping study, engage in doing other studies that would allow us to prepare ourselves to submit a mining license application. And in that process, once a mining license application would be granted to the company, it would be given to the subsidiary in Guinea, and the government would take a small percentage stake. I think prior to an IPO, we would ideally like to have a mining permit issued to our subsidiary company in Guinea, and I hope that we can achieve that probably by mid-3rd quarter next year.
What is Guinea like to work in? My understanding is we spoke before the start of the interview about the new government that came in last year. What sort of relationship have you established with the government? Are they mining friendly, and do you think ready to issue licenses?
So the government, since it came in the coup last year in November, has indicated it's mining friendly. It has certainly put pressure on some of the bauxite producers to say we would like to see more ore beneficiation in country. How does that affect us? I think the government's really, really keen to move things forward quickly. I think they're very keen to have, value addition in country. And this actually is a good thing for us because the Morella project has a number of different commodities and metals, which the government, one, does not produce, and secondly, does not export. So this would enable them to diversify their basket of exports related to commodities, and it would also, generate an awful lot of new development in a very rural area. So I think the government is very, very keen to attract companies into Guinea in order to diversify those exports, and I think Morella could do that. And in addition to that, the government seems to be supportive to help companies access infrastructure where these sorts of assets could actually link into state-managed, state-owned, or even private-owned infrastructure to get mine products to market.
Yeah. So in terms of reports that you'll be publishing, what is the next stage? Where do you see?
We're going to have, by the end of this month, within the next 3-4 weeks, we're going to have 2 mineral resource estimations completed. We're going to release a shareholder update once they're done. We're also going to have the initial scoping study completed by early to mid-December. That will be released to shareholders as well. We're going to release additional updates based on assays for scandium, and as we progress into Q1 next year, as we incorporate a lot of the fresh rock confirmatory data from resampling and relogging the AMA drill core into an updated mineral resource estimate that will feed through into the revised scoping study, that's going to again lead to new news flow coming out for shareholders. So there's going to be a lot of news flow coming out through shareholder updates for our shareholders.
Here we are, middle of October, and clearly there is a bit of an economic problem around. Does this make any difference to a company at your stage of development or Optiva's stage of development? But of course, you've got to be mindful of the fact you're in an area where there's a lot of appetite to take on these new minerals. So in some respects, it actually looks quite good for you, doesn't it, despite the fact we are in what appears to be an economic downturn?
Well, I think the government of Guinea is very, very supportive. I think that's going to be a key driver for this. I think there's a number of developments going on in Guinea which are going to help us. And I think for our investors to understand that the government's supportive, I think that's going to give them a degree of comfort. There's a number of catalysts we've got for developing value in this company over the short term that many other companies don't have. And this could be still a world-class polymetallic project. We are looking at a number of milestone targets being delivered over the coming months, and we think this offers an investment proposition to investors which I think is quite attractive.
Well, good luck with everything, and we're looking forward to the IPO next year. And
thank you very much.
But Charles Douglas Hamilton, in the meantime, thanks so much indeed, Technical Director at Optiva Resources. Thank you.
Thank you.